In this video, I'll demonstrate how to set up the framework for discount codes or promotional codes in Slate by Technolutions, so you can use those discount codes for event registrations or form registrations in conjunction with a payment. So here I have this form, and if I don't apply a code, but if I add a code Kaceli here and then click on apply code, this amount should change to $20. So the video will highlight how we can go about setting this up in Slate if it has never been implemented before. First, you need to create a new field. It depends on what the scope of your forms are going to be. So typically for a person-based form, we'll create a new field called event promo code. I'm not going to recreate this from scratch because I just implemented it, but I'll just highlight how the process works. So we are going to create a new field. It's going to be a records selection and then the person selection as well. And then in the details for that field, we'll select the ID for the field. It's going to be event underscore promo code, and then the name, the description of this field. Then under the field type, we are setting it to a single value, and then we are going to utilize a prompt for this. So it's going to be linked to a prompt called event discount code. So the way it's going to work is we have a list of prompts, which will be our discount codes or the promo codes, and then the user is going to enter in the form their code. Now, if it matches what they enter, then it will store it. If it doesn't match, then it will not store it. And if it stores it, then it's going to apply it where we use this part of the payment. So for now, just to remember, we are creating the field, and it's going to be linked to a prompt event discount code. We create also the prompt, the event discount code, and you do that by clicking on new prompt key and then enter the details. Basically, there is the name for the key and then the key itself. In my case, I have set them as the same one. Now remember, this needs to match what your field is referencing here. So it's referencing the event discount code, so it has to match exactly with the spelling and so on in order to work. Then you add the various discount codes here. You can select the active and then just type the value. This is your pool of codes that you'll be adding. You can also make them effective for a specific date and expire on another date as well. So for now, notice I have only two codes here. I have the code Kaceli and the homeschool 24. Once you create the new field and you create the new prompt along with the prompt values, you need to also update the prompt to run a force refresh on it here under the prompts area and also the fields. Then you also need to run the update the configurable joins from the database option. So we need to refresh the configurable joins library so that it publishes those changes, and then we go to our form. Now, in the form itself, the way you can store this value is by basically inserting a text field and then referencing the export key. So whatever the user enters, it gets stored in that particular field that you created earlier. So this is simply a text field, and it's just the export key is going to that particular field that we created earlier. Now, if the value matches with the prompts, then it will store it. If it doesn't match, it will not store it. Now you'd say, well, how do I find the code for this one? The way you find the code is to use one of those options here, either a checkbox or option buttons or select list. So if I add here select list and I go to the person fields, because it was person scope that I created it earlier, and then in here there is the event code. So you select this and then you take note of the export key. We are not going to use the drop down because there's no point of them selecting the values. We're not telling them what the codes are. We just want them to insert the code. So what we do is we simply copy this export key and then press cancel here. And then when we insert the text field by simply creating a text box like this, and then put in a title for it or a label for it, and then paste it in there, the key that we copied from earlier. In here in the export field area, we can give this promotional code. You can make it however you want. And then you simply press save. Then you need to add what's called a payment amount item. So you drag this over, and then you're basically saying if the promo code has been applied, then the customer is going to pay this amount, let's say $20. And here we are joining the form by using the join, and then we are saying if the form field exists, which was the sys field event promo code. So if the code that the customer entered matches the list of codes that are in the system, and it was stored when they entered the promotional code item over here, if that exists, then they should pay $20. Then you create another payment amount item here from the right and specify this. You could put a different label. It doesn't matter what you do here. And then if that field does not exist, so the event promo codes in the system is not stored, then they should pay, let's say, $25. And then you insert the payment option, so the payment form here, which is this one here down, the payment information. And then you configure the payment amount. So this would be the sum of amounts. Because we have conditions set, it will be one or the other in our case, but it's still you set it as the sum. Then you specify what account it's going to be applied to. Then you select the option for embed payment form. And then you select enable embedded payment collection on form. And then you put also this create a new payment due for each submission. Then you press save. And once you set all of these, the form, once you have activated it, it's ready to be used. And then you can go in here. And if I don't have a coupon, it'll give me 25. If I put my solid code here and apply it, it'll be 20. Now, the reason for the apply button, this button actually doesn't do anything. It's just a matter of moving from this promo code field to something else. But sometimes the user doesn't click on anything else and they go down to submit it, and then the amount doesn't change. So therefore, you put this button in there. Now, to put the button, you can go anywhere online. You can go and insert. In this case, I just use the instructions option and inserted the code for buttons. You can change this to be different colors and so on, but all it is a bunch of CSS that you can modify and update. I'll try to put this in the description if somebody needs it. So that's all that there is to it. I hope you found this helpful.